Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So this is attempt number 4 to film this video. God help me, I hope it actually sticks, because if not, I might not have a video coming out. So if you see this, yay, give me a thumbs up because I made it. But I wanted to make this video because I wanted to talk about why I feel like stories matter now more than anything. I'm filming this on Sunday, February. I'm filming this on Sunday, September 14th. And it's been kind of a crazy week. And like a lot of people, I found myself doom scrolling. I found myself just watching endless videos on YouTube about politics and about the state of our country. And I saw a few videos of people talking about why it's really hard to write right now. And I wanted to just say that I think now more than ever, it is important to write, because writing offers connection. Stories offer connection with people. Social media has kind of done a bad job of us connecting with each other. We were supposed to be, everybody was supposed to connect with everybody. You would stay connected to people you knew 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And it seems like now a lot of us are more alone than ever, and we're not connecting. But I firmly believe that reading is a way to really connect with someone, especially the writer. You can connect with them on a level that's very personal. If you're reading first person accounts of something, real, like somebody's essay or somebody's, nonfiction piece, you can know what's going on in their head. If you're reading somebody's fiction piece, you can connect with the ideas that they're trying to share in an allegorical way, in a way that is not so much straight out, but more of a creative way. And all of those are really important and will help us all connect. So I hope that if you're a reader or a writer, you are continuing to do that. Also, I want to say that, ideas are kind of under attack. There's book bannings happening, and libraries are, under attack. Librarians, unfortunately, are seen as villains in some communities, and writers too are being censored, and their work is not being shown. Lord knows that if you're not in English speaking, or you don't live in a first world country, it can be really hard to get published. And, we've all heard the stories of folks who are getting book deals who some people feel, maybe don't deserve it. I don't really know if you deserve it or not. It's not really up to me. I understand publishing is a business. People want to make money. So I'm not really too attached to that. But I also know how frustrating and how hard it is to just get your story out there and be published. Even if you're self-publishing, getting an audience, because you're not owed an audience, right? And you're not owed attention. So you have to go out there and you have to look for it. And you have to try and convince people to plunk down their hard-earned money to buy your stories. And, some people have been burned in the past, and some people are a little, wary about indie publishers and indie writers. So either way, it is hard to write a story and get people to connect with it. But I think that you should still do it. I still think that it's worth it, because even if 3 people do, you never know. Those 3 people could need to hear that story. And from my perspective, I write to connect with people, most definitely. And it's not something that I feel always happens, but it is something that is important enough to me that I keep trying, even if, it misses its mark. So having said that, I hope that if you are a reader or a writer, you are continuing to write and trying to connect. It's important, especially now more than ever. I'm never going to tell people to hide their head in the sand and don't pay attention to what's going on. But I do also feel that there are more than one way than to doom scroll. And plunking your money down to support writers that you think are important and have important things to say is a great way to do it. And if you're a writer, championing other writers, putting your story out there so that people know that you feel the way that you feel is also a really good way to not hide your head in the sand and to be a participant in this world. So, having said all that, I personally did not really work on my novel this week. I did submit something on Friday, and if you watched that last video, I did say that I had to submit something. I did submit something. I think I did it Saturday night, but it might have been Sunday morning. I can't quite remember. And the rejection letter came back actually pretty fast. It came back like 2 days, I think. And I appreciate that. I appreciate a fast rejection. And it was a polite letter, too. So, that was okay. The worst is when they ghost. Then you're like, oh, gosh. Please just send me a rejection letter, But, yeah, I got the rejection letter, and it's not really like the end of the world. I'm so used to it by now. So I just found a new place and submitted. I actually think I submitted to somewhere else too, but I'm blanking on it. But I know I did at least one on Friday. So this week coming up, one of my dream journals is open. And instead of sending them a fiction piece, I actually wrote a nonfiction piece to send. And so that's kind of been taking all of my attention this week. Did tinker a little bit with one short story that's kind of I'm in the middle of it, but I did not look at my novel at all. And probably won't until this essay is submitted. And I'm not quite sure which day it opens. I've heard conflicting dates. So until that story is out the door and submitted, I will not be touching my novel, which is just fine. Sometimes you need a break. And as much as I enjoy writing my novel, I feel like it is important that if there are journals out there or websites or magazines that I really want to be a part of, to make that a priority. Nobody is like waited with bated breath for my novel. So it's okay if I set it aside for a week or two and work on some other things. I feel like as long as I'm writing, I'm doing okay. I think the problem is when you stop writing, then it's like, ooh, that's a problem. But no, I haven't stopped writing. I just worked on some other pieces instead. And let's cross fingers that I get in. It's a dream journal, so getting in would be awesome. Yeah. Also, speaking of stories, I have a little book haul because I found some books that I want to read. Some are from the library. I have one from my personal TBR and one from the Dollar Tree. Like, what? But yeah, we'll start off with that book first. So right now, I'm reading Brandon Sanderson's Legion. I found this in the Dollar Tree. It came out in 2018. I don't remember this at all, but I saw it and said, hey, I'm looking to read short novels. This is 3 novellas. I'm going to count it as 3 novellas for my reading for 2025. And I'm already through the first one. I'm like partway through the second one. And there's 3 altogether. So, but that was kind of fun. I've read a lot of Brandon Sanderson. I read Elantris. I read Warbreaker. I read the Mistborn books, all but the last one, The Lost Metal, that Wax and Wayne book. I haven't read that yet. I've read Steelheart, the first one of the Reckoneers, and I have read The Way of Kings and no. Is it The Way of Kings? I think that's it. And Words of Radiance, those 2. And I am reading Oathbringer, but honestly, I pick it up like once a year and read like 50 to 100 pages. It is sitting still over there, and y'all, it's slow reading. It's slow going. I had to stop and read some other stuff. Those books are huge. It's like 1,000 pages, and I don't know. The first 2 books I blew right through, no problem. But I don't know, something about this book is just dragging. So, I'll get through it eventually. Eventually, I'll get to that. I mean, I don't know. He's on like two more books after this one, plus all the novellas and stuff. It's like after a while, I'm like, okay, Brandon, we'll get back to you right now. But I have other things to read. But Legion so far is fun. It's a little funny. It's a little weird, and it's pretty quick read. So I'll get through that in the next couple days. Next is from my personal TBR list, N.K. Jemison's How Long Till Black Future Month. And I got this at the Last Page bookstore in Savage Mill, Maryland. I forgot that I bought this. And then when I was looking at the books in my TBR, I realized I had it and I wanted to read it. This is her collection of short stories. And I've read a couple of them so far and really, really enjoyed them. I'll probably read like 2 or 3 at a time and in between other things, because since this is my personal book, I don't have to return it to the library. And yeah, that's important. So we're going to make our way through that. I probably will be reading that well into October, maybe even November, although I don't think it'll take that long. Those short stories are reading pretty quick. But the other thing that's tripping me up is the print in here is awfully small. I don't know if you can see that. It's awfully small. So me with my progressive lenses, it is much easier for me to read small print in very, very bright light. And as you can see in my apartment, it is bright, but it is not as bright as like sunlight. So during the day is the best time to read that book. And it's now that it is evening time, I probably won't be reading it. Yeah. But the next book is the next 3 are from the library. And this book, again, I've been wanting to read it for a long time, and they never had it in the library. And I went in today and it was there on the shelf. I could not believe it. And so I was like, oh my God. And I checked on like Friday, and it was checked out. And so somebody must have returned it on Saturday and they shelved it. And when I came in today, which today is Sunday, I was like, oh my God. So I picked it up, and I will be reading this. As soon as I finish the Sanderson book, I will be reading this book and returning it immediately so that others have a chance to read it. What's next? Okay, next book is The Book of Love by Kelly Link. This is probably the biggest book that I have. I have read everything by Kelly Link. I have all her short story collections. And so I knew this book was coming out, but I did not know when. For some reason, I blanked on when it was coming out. And so I think I realized towards the end of last year that it had come out. And I was like, oh, well, I should go get it. But I kept forgetting. And now they have the paperback out. And so I really wanted the hardback, though. And it's hard to find in like bookstores. I have to order it off Amazon. But I saw it was in my local library, and I said, you know what? Let's just read it. And then that way, there's not a huge rush to like buy it. So I might put off buying it until early next year in 2026, and then start looking on like Amazon Marketplace until I see a hardback. Because frankly, when I buy books off Amazon, I tend to buy them off the marketplace, and I buy them from the charities, the small bookstores that are there, the indie bookstores that are listing their books there. So I rarely buy them straight from the publisher. I tend to buy them from the secondhand places, or I guess if it's an indie bookstore, not really secondhand. But I try to give my pennies to those folks, and it works for me. All right, last book is more straight literary fiction of all of them. Zadie Smith's The Fraud. The only book I've read by Zadie Smith is White Teeth, and I read it like 25 years ago when it came out. It was fantastic. I've been meaning to read her other stuff. My library has Grand Union. It has Swing Time. But I saw this book last year in the library, something like that. And I just kind of put it in the back of my mind, like, you want to go get this book. And I just kept forgetting. So I saw it this time around I had Time War and I had Book of Love, and I was like, you know what? I need one more. So I grabbed The Fraud, which I had been meaning to read for over a year. All of those books I have been meaning to read for over a year. But yeah, so I have a straight literary book. I'm not surprised. Like I said, I've been leaning more into my literary fiction self and kind of reminding myself of why I love literary fiction, and definitely leaning more into that in my writing. So people like Zadie Smith are definitely an inspiration for me, and definitely people that I am trying to learn from. So very exciting, very excited for all of these books, and hopefully I will finish them all in a timely manner and add them to my list. This is going to be an interesting video when I make it at the end of the year about my reading for the year. It's like I veered from Fourth Wing to The Fraud by Zadie Smith and everything in between. But hey, that's why you need to read everything and read widely, because you never know what you're going to love and like. And you should give it all a try. And to be honest with you, every book that I have finished, I have found something I really liked about it. It may not have all been my favorite books, but I liked them well enough to finish them. There are a couple that I DNF'd, and they will not be going on the list. But for the most part, all the books I've been reading this year have been really great and really enjoyable. And I'm really glad that I got to read them this year. I do have plans for 2026 with my reading, but we're not going to talk about that just yet. It's a little too early for that. Right now, we're just trying to get through these books. So I think this is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please consider giving it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I would be very grateful. And I hope that everything is going well and that you are safe. And I will see you all on the next video. Bye.